that I've seen being tested in this area is when you talk about something called practical expedient approach. Okay. Now, see, understand that this is a gray area. Okay. Let's assume there is a PE fund. What is a PE fund? A private equity fund. I've had some people, and let's say I am a person who has an eye for a lot of these coming up things. You know, I'm sure most of you guys are aware of one such lad who will call you up and say, "Hey, boss, you have 5 lakhs extra. Do you want to make some extra investment? So this is very good startup that they're coming. I know they are going to have a funding available very soon. They're into a very good area. So if you have some spare money, I'm betting you 5 lakhs will become 50 lakhs. Do you have such friends? Because I have. I have one such friend who will come up with such weird notions every time, and I have to really hold my impulse of not going ahead. So imagine there is a group of investors who think that they're earning good and they are ready to put in the money, pull in the resources, and invest in such places. The other day I was hearing a podcast, and there was this weed farming, something like some kind of a very extraordinary weed that grows in some special kind of a water. And there are people who are saying that that is going to be the next big thing because this is going to be the most. So there are companies who are setting up. Have you heard of it, or is it only me who hears such crazy things? But yeah, so think about like that. So when somebody sets up a private fund, and the idea is to invest in these rare stuff that people would not get into. But most importantly, there is not a readily available market to have all of these, investments valued. Then what do you do? Then we say, see, if such a situation happens, and two criteria has to be very, very important. First is that I have to use a, fair value, but most of these fair values are not publicly traded. So what will be the value of the startup company? There's a rare archaeological artifact, and I don't know what is the value. Maybe 2 million, it may be 20 million, it may be 200 million, or an artwork. Tarun, getting something which is like probably it becomes the next Imam Hussein or whatever. Then what do you do? Then we say, okay, first criteria is I do not have a readily tradable value. So I have this PE fund which has these very smart investments that are going to come up with. I don't have a readily market value, but when I report the value per share, I report it on the basis of the net asset value. Are you understanding what I'm saying? When a mutual fund company reports me the NAV, can you understand, guys? That's a publicly traded mutual fund. So what level of hierarchy it is? Am I still having all you guys with me, or have I lost you? Have you understood what my question is? When a mutual fund gives me the NAV, what level of hierarchy it is, guys?
Level 1.
Level 1, obviously, right? Because it's a publicly traded mutual fund NAV. But I'm talking about an NAV of a company which is having a mutual fund investment, something like a mutual fund concept. And I'm reporting an NAV on the basis of what I have put in. What is the investment value divided by the number of shares? But it is not readily available. So we have given you an exception saying that if the investments are reported at the investment value. So when I am reporting the number of shares and the value, I am taking my internal data about the money that I have put in divided by the number of shares. So if, remember, the only two requirements that we have to understand is that there is no publicly traded price and the fund is reporting its value in terms of that value. If that happens, then just to expedite the matter, we have allowed these PE companies to report the value as the NAV that they are reporting for their funds. But please remember, these are not publicly traded mutual funds. Okay, so don't confuse it there in case if you get a question from this area. Okay, so please remember that the PE fund must meet the criteria as an alternative investment. Then only the investor can use the NAV as a practical expedient to measure the fair value. And please understand, if I'm actually following this NAV approach, I don't say that I'm following any hierarchy. I don't say this is level 3 or level 2 or level 1. I just give you a note disclosure that for practical expedient purposes, the NAV that is reported by the PE fund is being used as the NAV on the basis of which. Now, what am I saying, guys? Have you understood that in the value of X, in X's balance sheet, when X will report the value of these funds, the number of funds, the number of unit that it has in this PE fund, he will multiply or she will multiply it with the NAV that this company gives them, and then that value comes in the excess balance sheet. Is this clear? Anybody